So first up this week, we go back in time a little bit. I dropped this book, Iron Man, issue 3. The art I felt was spoiling the book for me. But after watching Dr. Monkeybot's review, I'll put the link for his review last week down in the description box. I felt, you know, I might need to give this another go, because he said the story was really improving. And I thought, yeah, I'll check it out. So I was going to only buy the last 2 issues, 6 and 7. But while I was in my comic book shop, they had issue 4 and 5 as well. So I picked those up as well. So we start off this week with issue number 4. What I liked about this issue is I like the reasons why these different people have bought this extremist technology. It's like not just a bunch of people who want to rule the world, or, you know, for some terrorist kind of reason. Every issue, it's people have got genuine needs, and I like the different reasons that Kieran Gillen is coming up with. I love the new armour, and how for each mission he picks a different armour. The art is getting better. There are still some parts where, you know, I think Land's biggest weakness is with expression. Yeah, the characters look the same a lot, but I think each character as well, they don't have enough expression. They don't really get across what they're feeling. But I feel he's getting better at that, and I also feel that the action scenes are brilliant. And because he's dealing with a bunch of people who are basically possessed, he didn't need to worry about too much about expression. And this issue looked really nice. Yeah, there were some bits where, you know, a bit more expression would have helped, but mainly I think he is improving. And, you know, I was surprised how much I really enjoyed this one, and I give Iron Man issue 4 4 stars. So then we jumped on to Iron Man number 5, and this issue, Iron Man in space, basically. I really enjoyed the different reason why the people have got the extremist technology that Iron Man's got to get back. I like that there's a different reason for this now, and that each issue has seen people, and it's not just people who are villains. You know, you could almost look at each of these characters not as villains, you know. And I liked that not everyone who was after extremists was after it for selfish reasons. The art continues to improve, and I don't know how much it is that the story is improving, or if the art is really improving, but it bothers me less and less with each issue. Yes, there's the scene at the end where Iron Man decides, yes, I'm going to go into space. That could have done with a lot more expression in there. That could have conveyed a lot more emotion, and would have had more impact. But for the majority of the book, I felt the art was again improving. And the last page of Iron Man flying off into space, I just love. I just love that last page of him flying off into space. I thought was brilliant, and how much of that was the artist, how much that was the colorist, you could argue, but this was another issue that I really enjoyed. The only thing that did confuse me at the beginning of the book, we introduced this character Eli, and I'm kind of like, were we supposed to know who Eli was? Because he reminded me a lot of the character who was the Ironmonger in the first Iron Man film. The way he spoke, the way he looked, very much reminded me of that character. And, you know, I was thinking, at first I thought it was that character, but then when we see him in modern day, and I'm like, well, who is he? Is he supposed to be somebody else we know? Because, like, the way he spoke about knowing Howard Stark, and the way he spoke, he reminded me a lot of that character. So I was a bit confused with that. But other than that, I really enjoyed the book, and I just think it's continuing to improve, and I give Iron Man issue 5 4 stars. Next up we have number 6, and we kick off the God Killer storyline here, where Iron Man now is in space. I enjoyed the issue. The colours in this issue I think are great. I think the art continues, as I said before, to get better. I think there are some scenes where you look at the characters look too similar, but because they're all coloured different colours, that sort of helps you differentiate. But yeah, there's still some bits of the art where you think, yeah, but it's getting less and less, and it seems to be bothering me less and less as well, as the story really takes over. Love the twist at the end. I love the whole chase that Iron Man is on and chatting up this purple lady. And then at the end, she kind of throws up when she sees his face and that he's got a beard. I loved that. I thought that was really funny, but also I thought it was something that would be like kind of like true. Like you look at the Earth and how different countries have different customs, and things that one country would do, another country might think are disgusting, you know. And so like you take it then that other planets are going to have totally different ways, and I just really liked the whole thing that he struck out because he had a beard. I thought that was a nice little thing to put in there. The twist at the end with him being arrested for being the God Killer, I liked that as well. And when it sort of revealed what God he's supposed to have killed, it kind of all clicks in, and I did like that. And I'm just really enjoying the story here, and I give Iron Man issue number 6 4 stars. Finally, we are on Iron Man number 7, and this came out last week, not this week, it was last week this one came out. Again, I think this one was the best issue yet. Again, I'm enjoying the book more and more. The art's bothering me less and less, and while I do think the art is improving, I think the story is improving as well. So I think both members of the team, they deserve credit for that. Like I say, this for me, out of the 7 issues, was the best yet. I liked that they brought the recorder into it. I remember him from Hercules, when Hercules was off in space and he was travelling with this recorder robot, and so I liked that was reintroduced. But I don't trust this recorder 5451. I think he's a bit shady. I love the last page of this. If you're like an old school Marvel UK fan, you'll love the last page of this to see the character that turns up. I kind of like guessed who it was going to be just because they sort of had planted them in the last issue, and so I like that they sort of planted the seed of who that character was for people who didn't know. So I thought that was really good, and yeah, I'm just really enjoying this book, and I'm back on board. And I give this issue, Iron Man number 7, I give the perfect score. I give 5 stars. Next up we have Fearless Defenders issue number 2. I really like that cover. You know, it's set out like it's an action figure box, and I thought that was a nice clever thing to kind of pull off here. I'd heard a lot of things about issue number 1, so I thought I'd give this one a go. I got issue 1 off eBay and I enjoyed that a lot, so I was looking forward to issue 2. The art in this issue I think was very inconsistent. There were some pages that I thought were beautiful and I really enjoyed, and then there were other pages where there was like there's one scene where Misty Knight goes for a kick, and I don't know what it is, but it just looks wrong. The picture just doesn't look right, and so I thought the artist in this issue was very hit and miss. But hopefully as issues go by he'll get more consistent with the art. I love the introduction. We get Danny Moonstar at the beginning, and there's another character at the end called Warrior Woman, whose identity I won't ruin, but I like their introductions into the story. I like the way the characters are coming together in this issue and in the previous issue. It feels very organic, you know. Sometimes some of these team books, it can seem a bit convoluted the way they come together, but in this one it's been very organic, so I've enjoyed that. I really don't like Valkyrie's outfit, the metal boobs and everything. I don't like it. I think if they took the metal boobs away, I think the outfit would be fine. But for whatever reason she's got to have metal boobs, or even just if they made all of her top half armour, that would still work. But I really, you know, I think her costume looks a bit ridiculous, and it does make it hard sometimes to take that character seriously. Even though the book is well written by Cullen Bunn, it does make it difficult to take seriously when she is looking a bit ridiculous. So that's the only really change out of the characters I'd like to see. I'd like to see her outfit changed. But I like, one of the things I did like that Cullen Bunn did with this issue was the way that he kind of explained in the story why you would have an all-female team and why they need to be a four. And I like that they made that part of the story. I'm still really enjoying this book. I love how the team's coming together. I love each characters that get introduced. We also get to see a bit more of the villains. I think it's Caroline Le Fay, and I'm wondering if she's related to Morgana Le Fay. And so I am wondering about that. Warrior Woman, when you see her identity, who she is, I was like, I didn't know there was a Marvel version. I know there's a version of that character in DC. I didn't know there was a Marvel version of this character, so that really shocked me. and ran close for my Geek Out moment of the week. Getting back to the villain, we meet Mr. Raven as well. So it's nice, the characters we're meeting and how the story's coming together. I'm really enjoying it, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the next issue, and I give Fearless Defenders 4 stars. So next up we have Fantastic Four issue number 5, and I loved this issue. Going into this, I was looking forward to it to see what would happen next now that Reed had told Sue the truth. So I was looking forward to that, but I had been disappointed with this series compared to the other titles that Matt Fraction is writing. But straight off the bat, this gets my Geek Out moment of the week. The scenes between Reed and Sue, they are very emotional, and I found them very touching, and I thought they added a whole new depth for me to the Reed Richards character, and how, like, he expresses how, you know, he's used to being a genius and always having the answers, and that for this thing that's killing him, he doesn't have the answers. He doesn't know even how to slow it down, and so, you know, he's scared. And those scenes were really heartwarming, and how Sue comforted him, and I just thought that was really, they really impacted me emotionally, and I thought they were beautifully written. And the thing as well is, I've always thought of Matt Fraction as a writer who writes books that are fun. You know, you look at books like FF and Hawkeye, and while like Hawkeye has had issues where there's heartwarming moments, by and large it's been a book that's just a romp and a lot of fun. And I like that you get a right, and sometimes as readers we can pigeonhole writers, or this writer does this, or this writer does that, and we pigeonhole them, and a lot of times they'll have more than one string to their bow. And Exact Fraction here just writes those scenes fantastically, and it feels so true to those characters, but at the same time it really has a lot of emotional impact. I love the whole story in this issue with Caesar as well, and the way that plays out at the end. I'm looking forward to seeing where that's going. There were funny moments in here as well. There's a bit at the beginning where Reed says to Sue, he says, "Are you going to be angry at me? Are you going to stay angry at me, or are you going to help me find a cure?" And she goes, "I can do both." I found that funny. But all in all, this issue, I really enjoyed it, and I'm really pleased that, you know, this issue was so great, because, you know, I like how Matt Fraction writes these characters, but just the story hadn't been doing for me yet. But this issue just was really great. My Geek Out moment of the week, Fantastic Four issue number 5, and it gets 5 stars. Next up is Wolverine and the X-Men number 26, and we see the return of Wolverine's brother, Doug. Last issue I said I wanted to see more on who this guy was, and this issue we get it. Jason Adams, there's a fantastic scenes throughout the book where we get all the history of Doug, and they're beautifully drawn, and they're really great, flesh out the character, and they really work well. What really surprised me about this issue is that the same artist for the whole way through, because while the art for the flashbacks is beautiful, the art for the present day stuff, it seems rushed and a bit sloppy, and I can't get my head around it's the same artist through the whole book, because those flashback scenes are just so beautiful, and the two are just totally so opposite, and it's like not even opposite in a good way. The other stuff seems, it's like he's took loads of time on the flashbacks and then he's had to rush the others. That's how it seems. I like the reason in this book why Doug is here, and that he can time travel, and that the reason he's here is not like to beat Wolverine, but it's more to prove a point like a brother would. I still don't really know with Doug, does he have this aging thing Wolverine has, or is he just like, because Wolverine mentions it's 100 years since he's seen him, but I just wondered, like, is it like, because he has this thing, the time diamond, that allows him to time travel, and I'm just wondering if it's the time diamond that hasn't allowed him to travel to the present day, or if, like Wolverine, he doesn't age. That was something I hope, you know, I don't know if it was meant, I don't know, maybe I've missed it in this issue, maybe I should reread it, but I kind of got the intimation that this issue that he doesn't have the aging thing like Wolverine, and that he just has the time crystal. But I could be wrong, as he could have it. So, but all in all, I enjoyed this book, and I'm looking forward to seeing, because the end's really strong, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it's going. I give Wolverine and the X-Men issue 26 4 stars. Next up we have Thor God of Thunder issue 6, and this book just continues to be excellent. For me, it's certainly one of the best books out of the whole Marvel Now range of books, and it's one that I do look forward to every month. And you know, Marvel should be bringing out the trade of the first 6 issues very soon, so it's one, if you've missed the boat on this, I'd go and check out the trade, because it has been a really good book. We got change of artist this issue. Butch Grice is on it instead of Esad Ribbage. I think Ribbage is back next issue when we return to our main story, but I thought Grice did a good job with this issue. We look at the origin of Gore, the God Butcher, which I really loved. Jason Aaron really fleshes out the character, and it really explains why, instead of just killing gods, he does make them suffer before they die, and it really explains why he does that. And it really, you know, after this issue, you understand his motivations a lot more, and I thought it really added a lot more depth and to the character of Gore the God Butcher, and he's definitely becoming one of my favourite villains in the Marvel Universe. I still think that the whole thing, he's a Venom symbiont that he's using, that gives him his abilities. I still think that, you know, we have a character at the end who kind of recognises what he's got. And I thought we were going to get, but they don't say. But I am very much feeling, particularly now we get the origin and how it goes on to him, it's very reminiscent of the Venom symbiont. But yeah, this is just a fantastic read, and I really recommend picking it up. Great fun. Thor God of Thunder issue 6 gets 5 stars. Next up we have Manhattan Project issue number 10, and this is my pick of the week. I went into this book, every issue we get on the cover we get a title, and that title is reprinted inside. This issue was called Finite Oppenheimers, and so I figured, yeah, we're dealing with Robert Oppenheimer, who is really his twin brother Joseph, because Joseph ate his real Robert Oppenheimer, killed him and ate him, because when he eats people, he they become part of him, and he gets all their memories, so he knows everything they knew. So this issue we get to more into him, but we don't deal with that at all. The story goes off in a totally different way, and I loved it. It was a real surprise, a real shock, and it was just that book that after I put it down, I was like, wow, that was a really awesome idea, and I'm really looking forward to where this book is going. We do get a different artist on this issue, but I think what really helps the change of artist, it isn't that big of a shift, but what does help him settle in is that we've got the same colorist, and the colorist does a totally unique color sort of system in this book, and that really helped the transition between artists, because the book still looked and felt the same because of the colors and that. And though the art was slightly different, it didn't really affect it that much, and so I thought that was really good, and shows the strength of good colouring. But yeah, this was just a fantastic read, and I really loved it, and I'm really excited for where this book's going. I imagine Image will be bringing out the second trade of it soon, so if you've not been reading this book, pick it up. If you like your science fiction, or your mad science, or your zany out there ideas, or alternate realities, if any of those appeal to you, this is the book you should be reading. Fantastic book by Hickman, and I give Manhattan Project, not only do I give it 5 stars, it is also my pick of the week. Next up we have Batman issue number 18, and this is the Requiem issue, which are all the issues to do with the death of Robin over in Batman Inc. number 8, I think it was. The first thing I want to say about this issue is Harper Row. What a fantastic character. Every issue she comes in, I just adore that character more and more. And I don't think we're going to see her for a bit, because we've got the whole Year Zero coming up. That's going to run for 11 issues. So that's like nearly a year. So I don't think we're going to see her anytime soon. But I look forward to when we see her again. And I would have no complaint at all if they made her Batman's new sidekick, because I really like her character, and I really think what we've seen of her so far is great. And every issue, and I like that the way that Snyder, the approach he took with this issue of writing it through her eyes rather than Batman's. I thought that was really a nice technique to use. My only gripe, I've got 2 gripes with the issue. The first is it's supposed to be like the tribute to like Robin, and okay, I know that they want to maybe leave stuff for the other books to do, but I would have liked to have at least had some kind of mention of Robin in here. There ain't even like any mention of how he died. Now, I don't read Batman Inc., but I know he died, but I don't really know the details of why he died, because like I said, it's not a book I read. So it would have been nice, as somebody who just reads this book but has read every issue, to have got that information, even if it was just like a bit at the beginning or one panel, just to have got a bit more information. And also, like, when you're reading through this book, like, you imagine years to come, somebody's reading this run, reading the book, you would think that this is all to do with last issue, with the whole death of the family, which has totally been forgotten with all this Robin business. That story's totally been forgotten, and any fallout from it has totally been forgotten. And it kind of is like, what was the point of that story now? But that's another rant for another time. But you'd read the issues in order, and this very much feels like the response to what happened to Batman with Joker and the whole death of the family. And it's only really the cover and the end that really tie it into that this is about Robin, about him losing his son. Otherwise, you could easily think that it was all to do with him and what happened with the Joker, and him kind of dealing with it. And like I say, it would have been nice if they've had some kind of mention of him. Also, I found like there was a change. There's like a chapter 1 and a chapter 2, but chapter 2 didn't have. First thing you know about the new chapter is that it's buff. The art changes, and I think it would have been really nice if they'd have had a page with chapter 2 on it, or even if there's just at the top of the page they'd have had chapter 2, chapter 1, chapter 2, because I had to start reading and I had to go and look through the book to try and find, because it doesn't say on the cover that there's another artist. It just says Andy Kubert, but the art definitely changes, and it's because there's 2 chapters, and I found that really jarring, and that took me out of the story for a bit, where just the simple thing of having chapter 2 on it would have really, I think, really avoided that. On the positive though, I did love the ending, and I liked the real interactions between Batman and Harper Row, and for me that was the highlight of the issue, was Harper Row. I thought she was brilliant, and it was a nice issue. It was good. I did enjoy it. It was a nice tribute, and I give Batman issue number 18 4 stars. Next up, and finally, we have Star Wars issue number 3. I'm really enjoying this book. One of the things I love is it's kind of fleshes stuff out. For example, like the first scene we have with Vader, and I just love that scene with his face there, but then we have this lovely double page spread of the new Death Star being built over Endor. And one of the things that always never made any sense to me was how it took them 18 years to build the first Death Star. So we see at the end of Revenge of the Sith they're building it, and it doesn't get completed and is fully operational, and they're trying it out until A New Hope, which has got to be about 18 years later. But then they build the second Death Star, or it's pretty much it's getting to being finished. They build it in like about 4 years, 3 or 4 years between A New Hope and Jedi, and they're pretty much on the way to finishing this Death Star. It is fully operational, even though it isn't completely finished. and it just didn't make no sense how the first time it would. I know like techniques and that would improve, but 18 years and then 4, that's a big difference, and that didn't really make any sense to me. But what I like in this issue is that they kind of say, well, look, they were already building their second Death Star in secret, you know, before they'd even completed the first one. They were already building the second, and that was something that I did like, and it sort of adds a bit more to the story. So that was something I loved, and it was a big geek out moment. I loved seeing that Death Star. I loved the interaction here in this issue between Han Solo and Chewbacca. It felt very much like the banter between them in Empire, and that they are dear friends, and I really liked that. And the scenes with them on Coruscant were brilliant. I love, you know, seeing characters develop. I think I've already figured out who the spy is. I think it's the girl who's got the hots for Luke Skywalker. I kind of think it's her. But, you know, time will tell. But I love what they're doing with all the characters, and this book just is a real joy at the moment. And even if you're a Star Wars fan, but you've never really been into all the expanded universe of the books and the cartoon series and the comics, and that kind of puts you off, this is a really good book, and all you need to know about this book is what you see in the films. And I think that's the great thing about this, and that makes it so accessible. And I give Star Wars issue number 3 5 stars.